Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. This is a guide on how to use a Gila in T4 Firestorm Abyss, earning anywhere from just 60 million ISK an hour all the way up to 200 million ISK an hour. And the best thing here is that it is in a 550 million ISK ship here, as you can see. Not the most expensive Gila you can encounter. This is something that I think is a really good way to earn ISK in high sec, not having to rely on any corporations at all. And this is also an updated guide in 2024. I have previously made a guide on this in 2021, and I think that it requires a little bit of a refresh here just to get you guys all up to date, that this is still an appropriate fit. Made slight adjustments since we used this back in the days, but the concept here is that this is a hybrid based fit. So then this is then a Gila that is using a shield booster and a large shield extender at the same time. This makes it so that we can have a pretty big buffer, so we don't really have to rely so much on our capacitor to heal us or to give our shield recharge. Rather, we rely a lot on our big buffer that we got, because we've got field extenders here, so we have a big buffer. But then, to assist a little bit, so we get extra recharge, I go with the medium shield booster. And this is great, because say, for example, your shields go really low, in terms of passive shield recharge, then you hardly have any passive shield recharge when you go like to 10-15% shields, but this shield booster helps you compensate a bit there and get you up to 100% shields even when there's like nothing on the grid. Because if you've got passive shield recharge as well, then when you've got no enemies on the grid, it still takes a really long time to get the shields up to 100% HP, because there's a diminishing returns on passive shield recharge above 70%. But this shield booster sort of bypasses the limits of conventional shield boosting and allows you to get 100% shields in each room, essentially. This has got high DPS, 885 DPS, and this ship here requires max skills. I'm not talking about absolutely not Alpha Clone skills. Alpha Clone is completely out of the window here. This is Omega skills and pretty much tip-top skills here. No implants required at all, but good skills. You need to have level 5 skills in almost everything. I have got it, and that's what I think is required. Now, I think that probably some level 4s are alright, but me personally, I have level 5 in pretty much everything that is relevant to this ship here, and I think that that is almost what is required to be able to run this reliably without dying here. The ship is also relatively resistant to ganks compared to conventional active tank Gila, so that's also a benefit of the ship here. Since you've got a bigger buffer than conventional active tank Gilas, you're going to have a little bit more likelihood of surviving the gankers. Obviously, nothing is 100% gank proof, and this is not maybe as gank proof as like a 100k AHP Gila, but it's still more gank proof than a regular Gila. I've even posted a video, you can check in my videos, that I've been ganked in this ship and managed to survive. So I was pretty happy about that. But this ship here is something that I use a lot. I've been making tons of videos on this. A very good ISK making machine, but you can also have encounters where the ISK is not 100% what you would like it to be. That's why I was saying in the beginning, 60 to 200 million ISK an hour is what you can expect from this. It can vary a lot. When you have good ISK, then you can get amazing stuff. Like this is what I got last night. It's about 85 million ISK from one run, just like that. And each run takes less than 15 minutes, usually 10-12 minutes per run. So you do this very fast as well. The great thing about running these Firestorm filaments in this Gila is that the cost of the filaments are so cheap. So even if you get bad loot, you're basically not losing anything. You are getting through the site and going to get almost 100% profit. Compare that to, say, if you were to do something like a Raging Electrical Filament, then you're going to have minus 8 million ISK each run. So you get 15 million ISK in a run, you use 8 million ISK to run the site, you've come out with 8 million ISK profit for 10-12 minutes, which is not at all particularly that great of a scenario here. Okay, but the main considerations you have to think about when using this Gila is, as I said before, make sure you have near perfect skills, ideally perfect skills, and then there's some ups and downsides to this fit. So as I mentioned before, it's got a really big buffer. It allows you to survive for a pretty long time. And when you've got this shield booster helping you out, then it makes so that you're sort of bypassing the negatives of conventional passive recharge by increasing your shield recharge when you're down here and also when you're up here. So you're often going into each room at max shields. But it also has some downsides. This ship's capacitor is not the best. So I've got this tiny Nosferatu to help us if we were to have like a critical situation where you can have small NPCs you can get a little bit extra capacitor from. But otherwise, this ship has not got the best capacity. You see, without the Nosferatu, only 1 gigajoule a second. We have, however, got a large cap battery, and that allows us to get some form of capacitor neuting mitigation, which is good. But one thing you need to be really careful about when running these sites in this fit is to make sure you knock out the newts first. The newts are your #1 target in this fit. Those are the ones who've made me come close to dying, especially when I begin testing this fit. I noticed that the newts were the most dangerous NPCs, and usually if I am to take out the newts as soon as possible, then it's usually a cakewalk. There are some rooms like Charybdis Tyrannus as well and high DPS waves that you just need to make sure you get them done quickly, because this fit is a hybrid fit, as we mentioned before, and this still means that we have less HP per second than a conventional active fit. We have more HP per second than many passive fits, but we still have not as much HP per second as a nice active fit. This makes it so that we buy time by having buffer, not by having good recharge. So that means we have to destroy stuff quickly, otherwise we will eventually lose all our shields. So this is a basic wave here. The way I run this fit is I activate the hardeners. We've got this thermal hardener that is really good because it allows us to tank really well on the Firestorm sites, and it's not particularly expensive module either. So we get crazy thermal resist even though we're in a Firestorm site. Well, 69% is not that much, but the second highest resist. So as you can see here, we've got newts. I go for them straight away. Straight away, go for these newts. Use our Hammerhead IIs and go for them straight away. You know, to be honest, I have got different drones in this fit, and if you want to make this fit even cheaper, you don't need to get these augmented hammerheads. These are more of a luxury. So in few waves, like this Ephialtes wave, we can actually use augmented hammerheads. They do slightly more DPS, and this is good against enemies that have resistances that are very low. So that means that the resistance type your drones are doing won't really play so much a big of a difference. Something that I always do is I try to act as soon as I start taking shield damage. I did it quite late here, but I always try to activate our shield booster as soon as possible. As soon as possible. This makes it so that each wave essentially gives me as much shield boosting as possible. Just spread out the drones here. So if we go in the Ephialtes, you see it's got very low resistances across the board, 10%. And this makes it so then that, like, the fact that these augmented hammerheads do mixed damage, they do kinetic and thermal damage, it doesn't really matter so much because we're in the Firestorm. It's usually best to do the specific damage type that is affected, the thermal resist. But in the case of enemies that have got very low resistances, then it doesn't matter. You just use the drones that have as much DPS as possible. But you don't have to. You can get by with the Tech 2s as well. It's just a small little bonus in these kinds of waves. Otherwise, I usually myself don't even think about it, forget about them and just use their Hammerhead 2s. And they're a lot cheaper if you happen to lose them too. Because these augmenteds, they cost quite a bit each drone. These extraction nodes, I usually skip them unless they're very easily accessible. I try to go for them if I see them sort of on the route towards the gate, then I go for them. Otherwise, I don't usually go for them because it's better just to run the site, more sites, and spend that time doing more sites than going for the extraction nodes, since the loot you get from them is not usually as much as the bioadaptives. And it's not like in the case of an electrical site or some kind of filament that has a very big upfront cost, because when you have big upfront costs for the filament, like electrical sites, like the 8 million I was showing you before, then it's usually good to go for as many extraction nodes as possible to sort of take most advantage out of the site. But here, the more sites we run per hour, it doesn't really affect our ISP per hour. But if you run lots and lots of electrical sites now, then a lot more costs are going to have to go on the filament cost. So see here, you just wreck them really easily. And I should be using the shield booster all the time as soon as my shields are not 100%. I was quite late to activating it here, but you know, you could think of our buffer as the main tank here, and the longer we have the shield booster active, then we're getting more potential HP per second. Many times when you've got active base fits, they're sort of, how do you say, over-repping, or you don't need to use really the booster all the time. You're just stuck 100% shields all the time. I'm sort of taking advantage of that here, full advantage, so that even though I'm just using my shield boost, just, you know, just chilling here with one NPC, I'm still slightly contributing to our total tank during this site, because I'm going to get my shield buffer to maximum shields here. But a good thing is that even though I said that this fit is quite prone to newts, you are still not really, you still have a potential of tanking somewhat decently, even if you're not got your shield booster active, because you're using a lot of that passive tank. So you're not completely dead in the water if your shields are down. You're not completely dead in the water if you're not having to use your shield booster. You can still get around without using it for a little bit of time. Now here we've got rogue drones, and we've also got Diva Automata suppressors. This is a perfect room for just completely wrecking these guys. So these guys, these rogue drones are all going to take damage from these Diva Automata suppressors, and I'm going to go to these extraction nodes here so that I can get some ISK from them, because they're sort of on the way. I mean, they're not really on the way, but they're quite close to me, and they're also close to these Diva Automata suppressors as well, so that's going to allow us to just destroy them really quickly. So you see here, our shields are getting almost to max HP. Then I'm going to start to turn it off, but now I seem to be taking damage from these drones, so then maybe I won't turn it off. So let's just hope these Diva Automata suppressors start working here. Got 2 of them even. That's good. It's a bit difficult to take out these extraction nodes when you've got all these Diva Automata suppressors all over the place. Let's see if we can use these tanky ones. These tanky ones, I use them in high risk scenarios like this, where there's lots of Diva Automata suppressors all over the place. There we go. Recall them here. You can get like 1 million extra loot, something like that, like just some small scraps here. Good. Look, you see them, they're almost all dead now, just by being close to this Diva Automata suppressor here. Now, it is an unusually good location for Diva Automata suppressors because you've got 2 of them here. So look, they're all dead, so it's like, nah, whatever. Easy. And there's always one over there, that's good. So we can maybe land a little volley over there. Are we able to? Yeah, we were able to get that as well. Good. This. And then we got the bind after over there. Get this, not so much. And then get the last one down here. So, to be honest, this might have not been worth my time to go all the way here, but it was, in a way, indirectly worth it, because by going here, it allowed me to destroy the drones really quickly with the help of the Diva Automata suppressors, and then I was also able to get some extra loot as well. So in my opinion, I think it was worth it, even though it's sort of a detour we had to take here. But this fit is, I would say, you need to be a little bit tactical of how you use it. Try to use your shield boost as much as possible. You see we're starting to approach full shields here, and oh, 5 million, nice. That's when I would deactivate it. You can see here now we're max shields, there's no point of using it anymore, so we'll start stacking up on the capacitor here. But I don't know if you noticed, this is what I was mentioning before, but this is sort of a demonstration in action. So when we had the shields close to the top here, it was going a little bit slower than it was down here. And that's because the passive shield recharge is highest around 25%, and then diminishes very quickly when you go below 25%, and also becomes slower the higher you go above 25%. So you can think of it sort of like there's a maximum 25%. So it goes slower, and then faster, until it becomes 25%, and then it goes slower, and when your shields go below that 25%. This booster then helps us, because if we had not had our booster, we would still be probably like here in the 75%, maybe in our shields. But now we've got max shields, and we can just go into our next room. This ship here is one that I've used so much, because I think that it's an awesome it's an awesome return on investment option here. You're not having to spend too much on this fit. I mean, it is still 550 million ISK, so it's a little bit of an expensive ship in general, but if you compare it to other Gilas, I think it is a pretty good value. You don't usually find these kinds of prices on Gilas. Yeah, then you're running the T4s, and the T4s, they sometimes have really bad loot, but they also sometimes have very good loot. But you are running the T4s, and you're not only running any T4s, you're running the T4 Firestorms, and those are they can, oh, nice, good loot. This is not always what you encounter. You don't always encounter these good loot that we've got here, but it's something, you know. 47 million ISK already is great, and we've got another room to run as well. You see here, I mentioned before that each room is 10-12 minutes. This one is going a little bit slower because we spent so much time going for the extraction nodes there. Otherwise, if we had not gone for the extraction nodes, we probably would have been halfway through the next room as well. So it depends a lot on how much you also want to go for the extraction nodes, but time is never an issue here, I notice. Okay, so we've got this. Is that default automatic suppressor? Oh, we can do the same tactic here. Go for this short range default automatic suppressor because the short range ones do so much damage. So we just continue here. And I don't use my shield booster. I wait. I save as much capacity as possible. And then as soon as I start taking damage, we start using it. So then every shield boost our shield booster does has a benefit. Not like if you're using a full active tank where you're just boosting blindly all the time because you anyway have to have so much capacitor to resist newts. So a lot of shield boosts there in a full active fit go to waste. But here, each shield boost is going to sort of have a bit of a meaning, you could say. Which is good because then we're sort of fully utilizing our ship in a way. I know that there are probably active fits that are better than this, but I think that the hybrid fit has benefits and also is good for the price. I think it's hard to find a good active fit that goes at this price. Usually they have to be quite expensive with really expensive shield boosters or shield amplifiers. Oh, missile just destroys the second they go in the... Yeah, there. Oh. The missile just dies straight away. Now we start using a shield booster. Open up this extraction node. Oh, nice, 4 million. Go to the buy active cache here. And I'm not going to deploy my drones because they're going to get shattered by these default automatic suppressors here. So we just continue. Buy an active cache over here. You see they're going to probably all be dead by the time we are halfway towards the buy an active cache over there. It's easy. We can help the default automatic suppressor slightly here with our missiles. Getting webbed. I should destroy the webbers actually. They're the most annoying here. Come on, destroy those webbers. But it's really chill. I think this is chill, and you lose this ship, okay, it's not the whole world. It's not, you're not got a crazy expensive ship. It's not like if you say use a multi-billion Gila that is going to take you forever to get back. This is something that you can get back relatively quickly. I mean, obviously 500 million is still something that many players have a hard time just getting like that. I mean, even right now, I've given away almost everything, so I've started from ground zero on my main character. But even now, I think that 500 million ISK is a big thing. It's not easy for me to get it just from nowhere. Let's see what riches behold in this buy active cache here. See, that room was pretty quick, so we're sitting at 12.5 minutes. It's pretty good. And these rogue drones, they get destroyed really quickly when we use our drones. They absolutely annihilate them. But you also have to be careful that your drones don't get shredded by the rogue drones as well, because they don't like rogue drones. I would say the average ISK per hour you can get with this is probably 110 million ISK, something like that. Slightly over 100 million ISK an hour, if we were to estimate this over many runs, because in this case, we're getting, in a very short amount of time, a lot of ISK. But the thing is, this is not at all what you get every single time. 63 million ISK. I may as well could have got 15 million ISK or 12 million ISK from this run. So it varies a lot. It varies a lot. So now we've got a full shield. So if you're in a passive fit, you probably would not have full shield, but I could just exit the site and I have full shield just in case some ganks come. Then I have a little bit more more buffer to repel the gankers compared to if I were to have a passive fit. Then again, passive fits would have a bigger buffer to begin with, so it probably is going to be about the same. But that's it. Guide in 2024 for the hybrid T4 Firestorm Gila. Hope you guys enjoyed. I have a lot of passion for this fit, as you might notice if you're watching a lot of my other videos. But I think it's an awesome way to earn ISK with a relatively low investment and also have a nice time in the Abyss. Just make sure you have the good skills. It's important to have these good skills. Watch out for the neuters, and also make sure you just take advantage of your buffer and shield booster as much as you can. You'll sort of realize it more the more you use it. But I think it's a very fun ship to use. I hope you guys think so as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.